Bryan Kehl on the Deseret First Credit Union hotline with us. Bryan, thank you for providing us with our stat of the day and fodder for the offseason. How are you, man?
Thank you. Hey, you know what? I appreciate you guys putting out that Uncle Rico moment there and talking about the good old days. So I wouldn't have to do it. Thank you.
It's the least we could do. Hey, the last time I saw you, you were at Lagoon with your family. I'm glad you survived the roller coasters, my friend. Has your head stopped spinning yet?
Oh, man, the older I get, the more I realize I am not cut out for that life. My poor kids, they got a dad who gets sick on the rides. It was a fun day, though.
What's the one that goes straight down? What's that one called?
Cannibal.
Cannibal. Did you do Cannibal?
I did. It was terrifying.
There's not much that scares Bryan Kehl, but I can get on board with that one, man. I know that you're definitely not scared of Utah. And you have made it very, very public of your disdain for the 8-game losing streak. And just with BYU having lost in so many almost unthinkable ways, like the most torturous ways, including last year up 27-7 with a few minutes left in the third quarter, only to watch Utah come back. What's the secret to beating Utah this year, Bryan? Please tell us.
Oh, man, I wish I had that secret sauce, dude. If I did, I'd be down there in Provo shaking it on all those guys. I don't know. There's so many things that we just haven't done correct that have given us so many L's in so many ways in so many years. And last year was absolutely the worst. I mean, you go back to that game a couple years ago where we have a chance, a 2-point conversion, and we're a yard short of beating them. And that was heartbreaking. But that game last year, I mean, that tore a piece of my soul out that I don't think I'll ever get it back. I think, I just, when I looked at us in that game, and historically Utah just shows up more than we do. I think I don't know if that's a secret or whatever. We just got to show up. They've done it. We haven't. And our guys, I don't know what they're doing in practice that week. I don't know if and here's the thing. It's not just another game. It's not. And regardless of what Utah says, they don't treat it like just another game. And they've outperformed us for a decade now, and I'm sick of it, dude. I'm sick of it. That's the only thing I could describe it.
What is your biggest question mark for this BYU team right now?
Probably identity. Like, who are we going to be? Last year, it started off with just so much promise. And, we beat Arizona. We really had a chance to beat Cal at home, and then we beat Wisconsin on the road. And then you contrast that to a stinker 7-6 home loss to Northern Illinois. Only put 6 points on the board. And then, we blow it at Boise. Should have absolutely 100% should have won that game. And then the Utah game, absolutely 100% should have won that game. And so and then also the ugly loss at home to Utah State. And, they've beaten us, 2 out of 3 now?
Yeah.
So to me, it's an identity thing. Like, who are we going to be? And, if I was in that locker room, that's what I'd be concerned about. Are we the third, the third stooge in the state of Utah? Is that who our identity is? We have, in recent years, losing records to both Utah and Utah State. And, is that who our identity is? And I just, if I was in that locker room, I would not be pleased with that. I wouldn't be accepting of that. This offseason, if I was on that team still, I don't know, man. I would have gone to work just angry, not even hungry, but angry every single day, every single meeting, every single bench press rep, every single wind sprint, everything I did, I would have just done it angry, because that's, the facts are facts. That's where we are at right now. And so my question this year is, are these kids going to accept that identity?
What is the secret sauce, and you use that terminology for beating Utah, to establishing a team's identity? Does that start with the coaches, or is it more on the players and leaders evolving and developing in fall camp?
I think a lot of it is a mindset, and I think it's kind of having a mindset of, it starts with believing and understanding that you belong. and it's expecting to win. And I think I've said this on the show before, but I can't remember. My mind fails me. But I go back a couple games I played in. 2 games. So the first one was in 2006 at Boston College. We're out there at Boston College, and we ended up losing that game. I think it was double overtime.
Yeah.
And we missed field goal. I think we missed like 3 what could have been game-winning field goals, something like that. I absolutely had every chance to win that game. But at halftime, I remember, I'll never forget this. Right when we came at halftime, Bronco kind of yelled at us. And the thing he said was, "Quit acting surprised that you're ahead right now." And it just kind of struck me because we were ahead in the game. And it was kind of like the team was surprised, like, "Oh, well, wow, look at this. We can play with these guys."
Yeah.
And, and that's bad. You don't want that. That shouldn't be a surprise. You should be in every single game, have the absolute expectation that we're going to win this game. We're going to execute. We're going to do what we do. We're going to do it better than them. We're going to hit them in the mouth, and we're going to be ahead when the game's over. And, coming back to Utah, I think that's the thing that's kind of been lacking is that expectation. And, I bet there were guys on the team last year who were surprised that we had a 20-point lead with, minutes left in the third quarter and absolutely dominated them for the first half of the game. And I bet there were guys on the team that were surprised by that. And you can't have that. You just have to have a killer instinct and an expectation. I don't care who's across from me. I'm going to hit you in the mouth.
Former BYU and NFL linebacker Bryan Kehl joining us on the Deseret First Credit Union hotline. We're talking in our last segment about defensive disruptors, and I went with Kairos Tonga. Spencer went with Zane Anderson. Who, in your opinion, has the potential to be the defensive disruptor this year?
Those are both great picks. Tonga, is probably the most physically, not probably, he is the most physically dominating guy on the team. And, being so close to the ball, he has a chance. That's the thing about a guy at that position. You're so close to the ball, you do have a chance. And disruptor is the word. You can absolutely affect every single snap. If you're like, say and you contrast that. If you're a shutdown corner, you can absolutely affect the game and you can shut down your side of the field, but you don't disrupt what the offense is trying to do on every snap, even regardless. You could be the best corner in the world, but just by the nature of your position, you can't affect change on every single play. But a position like that, you're right over the ball. You absolutely can do that. And so, he's probably the front runner for that role this year. And, he eats humans, and I would like to see him just unleash every single game this year and just blow by whoever's trying to block him and get in the backfield and just wreak havoc.
Now, it's interesting that the stat we pointed out of you and Jan Jorgensen being the last players to have sacks against Utah in back-to-back years, and both of those games BYU ended up winning. In fact, I think the last time BYU had a few sacks, more than one sack against Utah, if that's been the case, they've won 4 of the last 5 against the Utes. What has to happen? Is it stunt blitzes? Is it Kairos Tonga? Is he the key? Is it scheme? Like, where does this start so that BYU can get some more pressure on Tyler Huntley and Utah and their passing attack?
Yeah, and that's the thing. Pressure. You have to pressure to get sacks, and it's obviously I'm a defensive guy, and I like getting after the quarterback, and I would like to see us pressure more. I know they have, they see things I don't, and I'm not there all the time. And it's easy for me to armchair quarterback because I don't know everything about the game plan that they have going on. But that being said, I just in general, over the last couple of years, I think we should pressure more, and pressure leads to sacks. You get out. It's hard, very hard to get home with 3 and 4-man rushes. It's really hard. You can do it. It's just hard. And that doesn't mean you're sending 5 or 6 every play and just, rolling the dice, riverboat gambling. But I think, you get a healthy mix. I'd like to see us, mix that up a little higher and bring pressure. And you're going to get home and sacks. Sacks win football games. You look in the NFL, you look at the guys who get paid, obviously the quarterback. Who gets paid on defense? It's Von Miller. It's Khalil Mack. It's Aaron Donald. And what do those guys do? They get to the quarterback. And, so that's what changes games. And so to beat Utah, to beat anybody, you got to get after the quarterback.
Brian, one of the other conversations we were having to begin the show is what side of the ball will be more dominant? What side of the ball do you think will be the more dominant side for BYU? The offensive side, defensive side? Where are you going?
That's a good question. The easy bet would be defense. I'm biased. I played defense, and we have some good guys there. But I would love to see us get back to the BYU of old. We have the guy under center who can do it. He's the real deal. To do what he did, the average person, the average football fan, you can't understand how impressive what he went out there and did as a true freshman was at the quarterback position. It's hard enough to come in as a true freshman. You played high school football the year before at any position and get on the field and start and affect change. It's hard enough at any position, but at quarterback, that's next level stuff. And this kid, he's the real deal. So impressed with him, just so pleased to have him. And I think he could bring us back to those glory days when, we're scoring 40 points a game.
Brian, it's great to catch up with you, man. We always appreciate your passion and your opinion. Let's do it again soon, and hopefully we're discussing a different tune after this year's version of the BYU-Utah game.
Yes, victory. That's what it's going to be, my guys. Thank you. Appreciate it.
You got it. Bryan Kehl on the Deseret First Credit Union Hotline. Deseret First, you know why, we show how.
Coming up, we play over-under. How many sacks will the BYU defense have against Utah?
All of a sudden, I'm feeling like this is like the stat of the game.
It's an important
right?
stat.
That turnovers and sacks.
Well, scoring is the most important game.
Plus,
stat of the game, but
the Beehive State features a couple of top 16 programs when it comes to the major sports. How about that? Details next as BYU Sports Nation.